February 27, 2013, Madison Square Garden, the most iconic basketball arena in the world. The New York Knicks were fighting for playoff position. The Golden State Warriors, still figuring themselves out. They weren't contenders, they weren't feared. And Stephen Curry, he wasn't a household name yet, not even close. But that night, something happened that no one could have seen coming. A 6'2" skinny kid with glass ankles stepped onto the floor in front of thousands of roaring fans and made the entire world stop. What he did in that game wasn't just incredible, it was historic. Unbelievable shot after shot, from distances nobody dared to take. The Knicks tried everything, nothing worked. The Garden crowd, usually ruthless to visiting players, started cheering for him, not out of pity, out of pure awe. That was the night everything changed, for Steph, for the Warriors, for basketball. Because that wasn't just a great performance, it was the birth of a legend, and looking back, it's clear, the NBA would never be the same again. Let's go back to the moment the world finally realized who Stephen Curry really was. Stephen Curry's rise to NBA stardom was anything but guaranteed. Coming out of Davidson College, he wasn't treated like a future MVP. He was doubted, a lot. Scouts thought he was too small, too weak, too fragile to last in the league. Even though he led the NCAA in scoring and carried Davidson to the Elite Eight, people still called him a system player. A guy who could shoot but couldn't survive the physicality of the NBA. To make things worse, his first few seasons in Golden State were plagued by injuries, especially his ankles. He missed 40 games in his third season. People started saying he couldn't stay healthy enough to make an impact. There were trade rumors, doubts inside the organization. Curry even signed a 4-year, $44 million contract in 2012. A deal that looked risky at the time. Nobody knew if he'd hold up. But Curry wasn't just healing physically. He was working obsessively, improving his handle, his decision-making, and most importantly, his shooting. He was already a great shooter, but he was aiming for something even higher. He wanted to change what range meant in basketball. And by the time the 2012-13 season rolled around, Curry was finally healthy, and he was hungry. The Warriors were still rebuilding, but there were signs of life. Klay Thompson was showing promise. Draymond Green had just been drafted, but the team didn't have a true identity yet. They weren't on national TV every week. They weren't taken seriously. Then came that night in New York. The Garden has always been a stage for greatness. It's where Michael Jordan dropped 55, where Kobe Bryant scored 61, where LeBron put on his crown. It's the arena that can make legends. And for Stephen Curry, this was his moment. From the very beginning of the game, there was a different energy in the air. Curry came out shooting, and he didn't miss. His release was so quick the defenders couldn't react in time. He was hitting from deep, off the dribble, through double teams. By halftime, he already had 27 points. The Knicks tried rotating defenders. Nothing worked. And Curry, he just kept going. In the third quarter, he hit a step-back three over Raymond Felton from at least 30 feet. The crowd gasped. Then he came back and hit another, this time fading to the left. His body control, his balance, his confidence, it didn't make sense. You could see the Knicks players getting frustrated. J.R. Smith threw his hands up. Tyson Chandler shook his head. They knew they were witnessing something they couldn't stop. And by the fourth quarter, it felt like everyone in the building was on Curry's side. When he hit his 11th three of the game, even the Knicks fans stood up and cheered. That night, Stephen Curry finished with 54 points, 11 made threes, no free throws until the very end, just pure, clean, jaw-dropping shooting. It was one of the greatest scoring performances in Madison Square Garden history, and it came from a guy who, just a year earlier, people thought might not last in the league. But here's the twist. The Warriors lost that game. The Knicks won 109-105, and yet no one cared about the final score. The story that night wasn't about the Knicks. It was about the birth of a movement, a new way of playing basketball. Curry had just shown the world that you didn't need to be tall or explosive or flashy to dominate a game. You just needed skill, precision, belief. That game sent shockwaves through the league. Defenses started guarding Curry 35 feet from the basket. Kids started practicing deep threes at every local gym. Coaches had to rethink their strategies because suddenly what used to be a bad shot became the most dangerous weapon in the sport. Curry didn't just change the scoreboard, he changed the rules. After that season, Curry's confidence exploded. He broke the single-season three-point record with 272 made threes. Then he broke it again the next year, and again after that. He made shots that had never been attempted before and made them look easy. The Warriors transformed around him. Klay Thompson became the perfect running mate. Draymond turned into their defensive anchor. Steve Kerr arrived and gave them the green light to shoot without limits. And in 2015, just 2 years after the Madison Square Garden game, Curry won his first MVP. The Warriors won 67 games, and then they won the NBA championship. It was official. Stephen Curry was a superstar. But it all started that night in New York. What made that game so special wasn't just the numbers. It was the message it sent. Steph had no all-star teammates, no championship, pedigree, no national spotlight. He just walked into the biggest arena in basketball and took it over. He made believers out of doubters, fans out of critics. He became a symbol of hope for every undersized, overlooked, underestimated player in the world. Because if he could do it, so could they. The years that followed only added to his legend. The unanimous MVP in 2016, the 73-win season, the clutch threes, the no-look shots, the warm-up routines that became viral events, and yes, the championships, 4 of them to be exact. But ask any true fan and they'll tell you that 54-point game in Madison Square Garden is when it started. That's when Steph stopped being just a great shooter and became a basketball icon. That game didn't just launch a career, it started a revolution. Basketball was never the same after Stephen Curry lit up Madison Square Garden. It changed the way teams draft, how they train, how they space the floor. Kids stopped dreaming about dunks. They started practicing floaters, crossovers, and threes from the logo. In many ways, Curry made the impossible feel possible. He turned skill into superstardom. He proved that greatness doesn't have to come in a 6'9" body with a 40-inch vertical. Sometimes it looks like a skinny kid from North Carolina with a broken ankle history and a perfect jump shot. Even today, you can see Curry's fingerprints all over the game. Trae Young, Tyrese Halliburton, Caitlin Clark, they all grew up watching Steph. He gave them the blueprint. His influence crosses leagues, borders, and generations. And the most amazing part? He did it all with joy, with humility, with that wide smile and silent confidence that never needed trash talk or drama. He let his game speak, and it screamed louder than anyone ever expected. When people talk about defining moments in NBA history, they mention Jordan's shot over Elo, LeBron's block in Game 7, Kobe's 81, and now they include February 27, 2013, the night Stephen Curry became a legend. It didn't take a championship. It didn't take a buzzer beater. It took one game of pure magic, a performance so unforgettable, even defeat couldn't erase it. That's the power of greatness. It doesn't always come with banners or trophies. Sometimes it comes with 11 threes, a stunned crowd, and the quiet realization that you've just watched the future unfold in real time. So the next time you see Stephen Curry pull up from 35 feet and smile as the ball swishes through the net, remember, it all began in the world's biggest arena on a night where nobody expected it, but nobody could forget it. The game that made Stephen Curry a legend wasn't about stats. It was about legacy, and it changed basketball forever.